Back at Pomona, where we're getting ready for the Final Four in Competition Eliminator. And has this man been here before, Steve Evans? Guaranteed. David Nickens, one of the best runners in this class.
But he is up against a very consistent dragster here, Ed Shook Jr. His reaction times have been good. He's been running right at about a half a second under the index. Here you can see only 0.14 of a second will be the starting line advantage for Shook. Believe it or not, the dragster leaves first. The bodied car, the old Cutlass, is actually much quicker. It's got a lot more horsepower. David Nickens, Winston champ just a couple of years ago. He's only won it one time. He's come close any number of times. The racing businessman out of Houston up against Shook, who's a local product. Reaction time could be everything here. And it goes to Shook. Nickens did not cut a very good light. And it hurts him. The former champ gets drilled by the little dragster. A 7:68, 172 the winning time. 7:55, 174 miles an hour the losing time. Let's look at it one more time. It was the hole shot that proved the difference. You just can't give away 0.07 of a second off the starting line. Now, sometimes it's not fair to blame the driver. It may be the car's actual reaction time. The little dragster may move quicker than the heavier old Cutlass, but whatever. It hurt Mr. Nickens a full car length.
You know, we were wondering with this headwind coming on here a little bit, I thought maybe David's car might be a little more stable, but you seem to hold it down real well.
Yeah, it was a good run. Shook the tires a little bit in low gear, but at the top of high gear, it was real good. I looked over, and he was coming on me, but looked like I could make it to the end, hold him off.
Okay, now one of these next two drivers will be racing young Mr. Shook in the final round to come later on this afternoon. And again, it's a bodied car versus a dragster. The bodied car is Mark Chaperone, the G Altered, running on a 9 flat index. His opponent, Bob Haas, in the C Economy dragster, small block Chevy, 8.25 the index. 0.75 of a second is the difference, Brock, and that is a light and a half on the Christmas tree.
That's a long time for Bob Haas to have to wait, an eternity, really, and it takes enormous mental discipline to wait. And he does it okay. No red lights here. Good, clean start.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, Haas had a little better reaction time than Chaperone. What a drag race. Chaperone at 8:51. He outmuscled him. 159 miles an hour. Haas is 0.45 of a second under the index. Chaperone 0.48 under, and that's the difference. A little over 0.03 of a second. Boy, that was one great drag race. Say today, Competition Eliminator has not let us down in terms of variety and excitement. In this final angle, you know that Mark Chaperone in the near lane is hoping that his peripheral vision does not pick up the spindly little front wheels on that dragster. And I don't think they did. All right, pairings for the comp final. We'll be seeing Mark Chaperone. And will he have lane choice? No, he will not. Ed Shook Jr. will get that honor, but I don't think that's a big factor unless there's some kind of a major oil down or whatever. And NHRA is so good at cleaning that stuff up, it's hardly a factor anymore. Let's go to Brock with Mark Chaperone.
You know, it's interesting. We were thinking a little bit with you and Nickens with these closed cars, that maybe with this headwind it was going to be a little bit of an advantage to work for you. It didn't work for him.
Yeah, typically the heavier car, the headwind doesn't seem to affect it as much. And, you know, we just had our game plan set. We just went out there and did it relaxed.
Good job. Well, good luck in the final.
Okay, Brock, thank you very much. Okay.
It should be a beauty. Stay with us. When we come back, we will have the final rounds. Alcohol dragsters, funny cars, and comps.
The sun is rapidly descending over the Chief Sportsnationals as we get ready for the 3 final runs here. But before we get to them, let's take another look at some of the other sportsman winners. In Superstock, Rick Hauser went away with the victory. In the stock class, Kenny Moore was the winner. Super Comp went to Rod Hartzell. Super Gas winner was Paul Elabab. And the Junior Dragster winner was Brad Fink. Our congratulations to all those guys. Great job.
Now it's time for Competition Eliminator, one of the most competitive categories in all of NHRA Championship drag racing, as you have seen today. Mark Chaperone, San Diego, the G Altered over on the far side, the C Economy dragster of Ed Shook Jr. here in the near lane. And I think this is a pick-up final. Huh, Brock?
Going to be really interesting. And again, it highlights the wonderful mechanical contrast of this particular class. Mark Chaperone in a car that looks like a state-of-the-art pro stock car from a distance, and of course Shook in a car that dates back but 10, 15 years as far as dragster technology is concerned, at least externally.
That's right. Chaperone will have the advantage, 81 hundredths of a second, and every hundredth is precious, especially off that starting line. And I'll tell you, when it gets this dark, you can really see that yellow light. Your reaction time might even improve. Shook has almost a perfect light. Chaperone was a little bit late. Chaperone's got big problems sideways in the middle of the racetrack, and he tags the wall with the left rear quarter panel. It is all Ed Shook at 8:48, 110 miles an hour. He shut it off almost completely. I'm sure he saw Chaperone dead sideways in the middle of the racetrack when he drove by and thought, this guy is no longer a threat. Let's see if we can see what happened to Mark over on the far side. As always, the wheels were up in the air. Maybe it lands with the wheels just a little bit cockeyed. Whatever, there you see it getting out of the groove. He heads for the wall. Does a nice job of correcting it right there. Looks a little bit like a Winston Cup driver trying to save the machine, and he darn near does it. The most important thing is he kept it out of Shook's lane. Here we thought, you know, he may not even scratch this car, but we were wrong. Doink. All right, let's go to Brock down at the far end with the winner.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. I'm sorry about the way I had to win it there. It looked like Mark spun out. He almost got in my lane. I backed out of it and just wanted to stay out in front of him.
Yeah, I think we're going to get a chance to talk to him, find out what happened, but I think everything's all right. You had a good clean pass, so other than that.
Yeah, I backed out of it. It felt good. The light was green when I left, which I was real happy about. I don't know what the reaction time was, but it felt pretty good.
Well, I'll tell you what, 5:04, how's that for reaction time? Not too shabby.
No, is that what it is?
Yeah, it is.
Wow, it was close. I knew when it came up green. I want to thank Flowtech Racing Heads and ERC Gasoline and the Hogan's intake manifolds and my dad for putting this thing together.
Congratulations, Nick.
Thanks again.
Okay.
Well, I tell you, your ego just loves hearing you cut almost a perfect light. That's a huge reward for these guys. Well, speaking of guys, here's a girl. Tiffany Highland over in the far lane. Her blown alcohol dragster will be up against Brooks Brown. You not only have a guy racing a girl, you've got an injected nitro car against a supercharged alcohol car. But first, indeed, Brock Yates has caught up with Mark Chaperone. Let's see exactly what happened. Brock?
Well, Mark, disappointing way to end a really nice day. I mean, you were really rolling well, and what happened?
Well, had a great leave. Felt like a real strong leave. Hit second gear, was still straight. Went into third gear, and I felt the rear end starting to come around on me. And rather than hit the brakes, when I was up at Bondurant Driving School a couple years, they said, just go with it. So I just steered into the darn thing, felt the rear end coming around, just tried to keep the wheels straight and off the brakes, and we drove out of it, thank God.
A little road racing practice out.
Little Bob Bondurant road racing practice.
Okay.
Yeah, you bet.
All right, well, sorry it ended like that.
Oh, me too. It was rough.
Okay, thankfully he's all right, and the car will be easily repaired. As soon as that sun dropped out of sight, boy, what a drastic change in the weather. It's cooled off tremendously. The moisture in the air is up, and I'm sure that's got to concern Tom Topping, considering the violence of this two-speed automobile. He shakes hands with his young comrade. And Tiffany Highland over in the other lane, she's ready to race. We saw her not only match wheels with Larry Sutton around before Brock, but she actually left a little bit ahead of him.
Oh, yeah. Tiffany's getting to be, as you say, one of the best in this particular class. And as you observed very accurately earlier, in a very challenging class of race cars. These are not easy to drive. And Tiffany Highland is deporting herself well. Look at this, an almost perfect lead by her. A great drag race.
But it's the power of the nitro car that pays off. Brooks Brown at a 593 to Tiffany's 597. And there was a moment there that I thought maybe Brooks Brown was in real trouble. Let's go down to Tom Topping and Bob Fry.
Congratulations, boy. I guess those A fuel cars really run.
Well, we can keep them consistent. We proved that, and we're just going to keep trying to get race after race.
Would you like to share some of those secrets with us? Nobody else can make them run 4 runs.
We're not exactly sure how we do it either. We just keep plugging away, try to be conservative and you know, keep the thing consistent.
Well, this car was awesome and consistent here this weekend. Congratulations.
Now in replay, it won't look like Brooks Brown was off the mark first because the car is so lazy, but he was. The reaction time doesn't lie. Now watch the car in the near lane. It'll come out here and it'll spin the tires just enough right about there to let Tiffany get a full car length advantage. But Brooks' big top-end charge, 233 miles an hour, was enough to more than make up that difference.
Well, I'll tell you what, you rolled out with a national record last week and capped it with a championship this week. Not a bad way to end the whole deal.
Not a bad way at all. This is great. Gerald in Florida, yeah!
93. Did you think you could run it like that in the dark?
It got all out of shape on me. I was steering like mad. I was all over the place. It slowed down. It spun the tires bad out there.
Great pass. Good job. Congratulations, Brett.
Thanks a lot.
Boy, that's the most pumped up I've ever seen Brooks Brown. A big hug for Tiffany Highland. Those two will meet again. Brooks hopes it's the same result. Stay with us. We're coming back with alcohol funny cars.
We have one race left here at the NHRA Chief Auto Parts Sports Nationals, and it ought to be a beaut. Pat Austin going against decidedly upset-minded Lou Gasparelli. And I'll tell you what, Steve Evans, Gasparelli has run so well and so consistently today, he may be able to overcome that 593 that Austin laid down earlier.
That's right, and Gasparelli has been very calm. I've seen him at other races where that wasn't the case. But he seems to have complete trust in Bob DeVore and all of his crew. And as he told you earlier, I'm not even going to try to watch that car the other way. Just drive, lose, race. Do your own thing. And that's easy to say, but harder to do. So the Dodge-bodied car here in the near lane will be up against the Oldsmobile-bodied car over in the far lane. Pat Austin, that for a number of years has literally owned this class. He is second only to Bob Glidden. The total number of championships he has won, that's Alcohol Dragster and Top Fuel, and he's about 25 years younger than Glidden. So there's a good chance that he may ultimately take that away. But, you know, Southern California drag racing fans love night drag racing. They grew up on it out here. And this wasn't intentionally supposed to finish at night, but here we are with all of the weather delays and so forth that have gone along with this race. The Gasparelli will be very, very confident running in this light. And Pat Austin, for that matter, too. He's done a lot of night racing up at Seattle International Raceway near his hometown in Kent, Washington, trying to get the burnout smoke out of the cockpits. Austin has a huge supercharger, that Whipple supercharger I talked about earlier. Fairly controversial piece. NHRA has regulated how hard you can overdrive it. That was Mike Austin saying, drill him, bro, drill him.
Yeah, the Whipple is really an effective piece, but some of the people are complaining that it may be a little bit expensive, but technology is always expensive in any kind of motorsport.
It may be expensive, but it's bulletproof. You can't even break the thing. Okay, they're off. Gasparelli hanging in there. Austin a little out of shape. It is Lou Gasparelli, and this place will go nuts. And he won it on a whole shot. 595 to a 593. Let's go down to Bob Fry.
Hey, Bobby, that's why the driver makes those big bucks for winning things like that, huh?
He's driving obsessed. I don't know what to say about Lou Gasparelli. He was operated December 17th for cancer. He's been taking radiation treatments every day. He hasn't ate 2 weeks. He wants to win. And the Gasparelli, that's all I can say. We're happy.
It's a great way to end this for Lou Gasparelli.
Oh, absolutely it is. He's a courageous guy, and I'm glad that Bob DeVore offered that tribute. Let's take another tribute to his driving this time. It was Gasparelli with a 4.60 light to Austin's .487, and not very many people could say they left on a final round against Pat Austin. The picture says it all.
All right, Lou, congratulations. I know last time we talked to you was here at the Winter Nationals. A 93 to a 95, a whole shot wins it. He low ET'd you, but just fantastic. Yeah, you just drove right around him, and you just...
Those guys, I mean, my crew, Bob DeVore, the whole crew, I mean, they just put the car together. I've got so much confidence in this car that, I mean, I just got to drive it. It's simple.
Well, great job. Great whole shot, great pass, and great championship.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
When you've conquered in your personal life what Lou Gasparelli has, he's right. They are simple. Our congratulations to all of our winners here at the Cheap Auto Parts Sports Nationals. For Brock Yates and Bob Fry, I'm Steve Evans. So long from Pomona, California.
The executive producer for American Sports Cavalcade is George E. Orgera. The supervising producer is Tom Gee. Produced and directed by Mark Kuchin. Promotional consideration provided for and a fee paid by